internet says that a group isolation system is an efficient method of isolating multiple energy sources prior to maintenance or repairs commencing. Well, as we find ourselves repairing the very essence of our social fabric whilst attempting to maintain our sanity, it's fair to say that we've all become multiple energy sources of our own. This show is about tapping into those energy sources, celebrating the good and the healthy that has emerged out of this complicated corona crisis. This is the Group Isolation Network's full, fun Friday feature featuring Fuge on Film, the Freelancer Focus and Friendly Foreign Friends. Perhaps that is one too many Fs, but you know what, we're going to roll with it. So, first to Spain, the country with the third largest reported number of cases of COVID-19, with around 20,000 confirmed as of today. To put that into context for our UK listeners, here we're on around 3,000. To get our first international perspective of the series, I spoke with Carolina Ruiz Marcos in Navarra, in the north of the country, and I began by asking her how her and her family were getting on in these uncertain times.
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, we've been confined now for 7 days, me and my family, and we're still alive. So I think we're fine.
So you've been confined is that because you've had symptoms, or is it because just the whole country has been confined?
Yeah, everything really started on last Friday. To tell the truth, I don't remember the date, but schools stopped on Monday. The thing is, here in my village, I live in a small village in the north of Spain. They said that from Friday let's stay home and stay safe with your kids. So since then we've been here, home.
Yeah, so I mean, just to rewind the clock a little bit, when did you first become sort of aware of the virus in Spain? When did it become sort of big news in Spain, and when did you realise that it was really serious for the country?
For us, the real warning was when everything started in Italy. We're very linked to Italy. We are part of this, what they call the pigs countries. And so we support each other quite a lot. And so we saw that in Italy, where lots of flights that were coming from Spain to Italy were cancelled. We had some people in Italy that were confined, as Spanish people confined. So everywhere in the news was this big thing that Italy is in warning alert, blah, 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 blah. But in here, it also took 1 more week. Is when the government decided that we should stop doing our normal lives. So I think China, for us, is like a very long distance away. But when it came to Italy, we became aware that something was happening.
I feel like there's sort of 3 different ways you can look at the responses to this stuff. There's sort of the official response, the government response, and then there's the kind of cultural and social response, and then there's each of us as individuals and personal families and things like that. I mean, just starting with the official response, what are the restrictions that are in place in Spain, and how have they evolved over the last couple of weeks?
So we have now what they call state of alarm, estado de alarma, which I don't think if it's an international. I don't know if it's an international thing.
I think we say state of emergency.
Okay. And here is estado de alarma. So, but emergency and alarm, I think they're very similar words.
Yeah.
And officially it means that everybody that is not allowed to should stay home. And children should stay home. All schools and everything linked to education is closed. And the only people that are working are really the people who, let's say, we need to keep the country running. Big factories that supply the state with important things. For example, if you have a big factory of yogurts, maybe you have to stop too. And for example, self-employed people and little businesses are going to start receiving some money from the government because everything is really stopped. So, and this is official. I mean, you cannot go out without receiving a fine of 600 euros to 1,000. So you also need to have a good reason to go out. For example, you can go shopping, but you have to go straight shopping and come back home. If you're suspicious to be, I don't know, wandering around, they can fine you, and the fines are really high.
Do they have police sort of roaming the streets, making sure
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, here we have different kinds of police. You know that we are a very regional country, and we have different polices in different places. So here, for example, in Navarra, we have the national police. We have what is called foral, which is Navarran police, and we also have Guardia Civil, which is another national, let's say, corps. And they they patrol the streets. I mean, they go with cars, and they're, I mean, we have them the sense that they're there to help, but sometimes you feel, oh my God, it's a little bit like a war state.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be so surreal to be have the states prevent you from your own freedom of movement.
Yeah, sure. And for example, we live here in a very small village, so everybody is home, and we can see maybe 2 or 3 people in hours crossing the streets. But in big cities, apparently, and because we are Spaniards and this is what we do, people do things like going jogging with a loaf of bread or something. So they can say that they've gone shopping, and they go and run and these kind of things. But as long as the bars are closed, I think we are safe home, because this is what people do. I mean, we go out because we go to our bars, which are like your pubs, and this is all long gone for now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think they're just discussing shutting the pubs in London. Actually, they haven't enforced it, but I think they're worried that not enough people are taking the government's advice around social distancing, and they're thinking over here of doing similar to what's happening over there with enforced closures. But obviously, that's very tough on the businesses, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. For example, here the bars or the restaurants that have some kind of takeaway services can be open. So, but I think this is also a very regional or local thing. For example, in my village, there are 5 places in which you can go and have a wine and have some food. Out of these 5, only 2 are running. The others are closed. And I also think it's a way of preventing, as you said, that all people go to the bar, because this is a very typical thing in Spain. Retired people go to the bar, mostly men,
Yeah.
but they are the risk, let's say, the risk group that we have to take care of. I don't know. Everything sounds a little bit patronizing from my point of view, but sometimes you need to do that in order to keep things running. I don't know.
In Spain, what have you seen positively in terms of how people have responded to this? What's in terms of like the cultural or social response? How are people helping each other out, and what's going on down there?
Well, for example, every day at 8 o'clock, we all go out to our windows, and we give a big applause to all the people in hospitals, from the cleaners to the doctors who are trying to stop this. And every day you can hear more people clapping out of the windows. And here in my village, for example, we shout to each other, "Buenas noches, ¿qué tal, vecinos? How are you?" And you can hear people from very far away. So it's really nice. And in cities, there are videos all around the internet. I mean, hundreds of people going out and clapping and cheering. And I think we are more united than ever, although we are home. It's really strange. And also, I know that there are families that are organized. And for example, only one person in the family goes out shopping and delivers things to different people. Here in my village, for example, my husband is a policeman, so he has to work. And he's in charge of 5 people. He delivers things, goods for 5 people. So he goes shopping and he does that for different people. And I know that this is happening in every level. So we are helping each other, really. And also, you can, I mean, we're talking on the phone mostly all the time. We thought this was going to be like a very relaxing time on our own, but it's not happening. I mean, I have a little child, and we have grandmas and grandpas calling all the time, and people, and Facebook is on fire. So yeah, I can feel that we are together in this. And some people are angry because they see that some other people are not taking this seriously. And some people are angry because some other people, like me, for example, we are taking this very seriously. Different opinions. But yeah, I feel that there is a heart beating, and it's the same for all of us. I'm quite happy how the country is coping with it.
It's amazing, isn't it, how everyone being isolated is conversely also making everyone more connected in some ways. And people are talking to each other, talking to people that they otherwise would never have talked to, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, when I go out for this applause, this daily applause, I see some neighbors in windows that I haven't talked to, or maybe in small villages we say hola to everybody in the street, but just that. And now we give a shout to each other. ¿Qué tal? Are you good? Is everything okay? And I hope when this finishes, then I hope it's soon. We will be in the street and we will hug. I can feel that people are desperate to have a real contact again. I think we will appreciate it more when this is over.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we've talked about official response and cultural response. How about you personally, you and the family? What are some of the tactics that you're employing to get yourselves through this?
Well, I since yesterday I have started working from home. I am a theater teacher, and all the theater staff with my company has stopped. But I am also an English teacher, so I'm starting with these classes, and it's a mess really, because having little kids in front of computers is a little bit of a mess. But I will have some hours with that from next week. During the day, what we do, I mean, we have a 5-year-old here, and she's demanding lots of activities. So sometimes it's a little bit hard because she wants to go out, she doesn't understand, she wants to be with friends, and we have to explain many times what's going on. My husband comes and goes because he's working, so every time he comes home is like a kind of virus protocol that he has to take with the clothes and the shower and blah blah blah. So all these things pile up. At the end of the day, it's quite tiring. I mean, I've been in the house for a week now, and I am tired. I thought it was going to be a little bit more relaxing, but it's not.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. How do you explain what's going on to a 5-year-old? What sort of yeah? How do you put it into any kind of context for them?
Yeah, well, with my girl, I talk quite straight through with about everything. So I try to explain to her that there's an emergency out there, and there's people who are suffering because of this virus, and that is an illness, and is something that can kill. Apparently, well, it doesn't kill everybody, but it can kill old people and people like grandma and people like grandpa. So that's why they are home, and we should be home because maybe I don't know, we can I don't know how to say it in English, we can have the virus and give it to someone else. So uh, she's quite on top of the situation. I think she understands. The thing is, she's 5, so sometimes she forgets. So I think I explain this like twice a day.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, the second time in 7 days, in every day, I mean, second time for 7 days is 14 times. Yeah, I am also a little bit tired. There are many videos, many tutorials, many things, but then at the end of the day, you have to talk to your own kids. So for me, I try to put it in a very real context, like that grandpa was ill last year, and so we cannot see him because he is one of the most endangered people. So, and she understands. So she calls the grandpa and she asks him, "Did you wash your hands?" And so it's like it's simple. I mean, she doesn't know that all these people are dying. Like yesterday in Spain, it was 169, which is a lot of people.
Yeah, of course.
I don't tell that to her. But if she asks me, maybe we'll have to talk it through.
Yeah, and just sort of psychologically, obviously being at home a lot of the time, as well as being tiring, as you say, as well as being stressful. How are you just sort of keeping yourself mentally in a good place?
We exercise a bit. As I told you, well, I am a theater teacher, so we do a lot of exercises, and we try to keep our bodies fit. At least all you can do in a house. We keep having having our showers, and because it's very easy to go with the flow and not having a shower and being in your pajamas the whole day. But we try to get up, have breakfast, and prepare for the day, even if we're not going anywhere. And yeah, and splitting the day in different activities. So, for example, we in the morning we talk about the things we want to do and the things we have to do. So, for example, Elisa says that she wants to read a story and she wants to, I don't know, do some ballet because she goes to ballet classes. And I say, okay, I can join you in the ballet, but maybe the story has to be at night. Okay. And I also want to read my book, and I also want to work a bit. And so, yeah, this is what we do.
It's a bit like when you work in an office and you have a morning meeting.
Yes, like a briefing. Yeah, you're in the morning. We arrange the things we want to do, and but for example, we have lots of special things happening. So, for example, this afternoon we're gonna make a sponge cake. We never do that, but okay, I'm gonna go through YouTube and I'm gonna try something because I also know that she needs something special, and we all need something special. So we open a bottle of wine every day, which is something we don't do in a normal state.
Sure.
Uh, but these things also cheer you up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, we are there in the balance. For sure, when this is over, we're gonna be fatter. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because I love cooking, and this is something I don't have the chance to do when I'm working. So I'm cooking a lot now, Jarek, and we are going to be fatter.
Well, I think very few people are going to come out of this healthier. And just so is I assume you're the same as us. There's no clear end in sight. It's sort of just this for the duration until you hear otherwise.
Yeah, well, they're telling us that we need to keep calm and carry on.
I thought that was our phrase.
They haven't said that that there's a bright side of it. So now they're saying we're coping with it, we're doing good, but at least we have 2 weeks now in this estado de alarma or emergency state, and after these 2 weeks they would give us more news. So they will tell us if this is over or we have to carry on. But well, we read newspapers, we see the news, and all the big events that are being cancelled are far are in June. Also, well, so I can feel that April is going to be a tough month too. Just by
Yeah.
reading the measures they're taking and the things that are being cancelled, it's easy to see that this is not going to be 2 weeks.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to me, Carolina. Just to wrap up, I've been asking everyone that I can for this show to give me a small little unexpected bonus that they found out of this whole thing. Do you have anything that has been an unexpected little silver lining?
Well, for me, all the conversations I'm having with people let's say, in Facebook or on Instagram, there are, that we have lots of friends in this media, but we never get to talk to them properly. And I'm having beautiful conversations with people. I'm having really beautiful moments of sharing and caring. And I'm getting close to people I didn't think I was going to be. So for me, this is really amazing. We're also sharing videos. We're also sharing songs. I'm discovering bands thanks to people that are sending me songs. Maybe this can cheer you up. And so all these things are really beautiful, and I will keep them in my heart. So all these things are part of life, and maybe these moments give you the chance to discover things about people and about yourself. I don't know. I want to be positive, and I think I'm healthy and positive still today.
I think you sound healthy and positive to me, and proving your point exactly. Me and you wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't for the
That's
virus.
it.
So.
That's it. When you called me, that was like, wow, Jarek wants to talk to me. And I was super happy to have this conversation. I'm going to tell everybody because well, this is an honor for me. I have to say, Jarek, thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Keep safe, you everybody there.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Cheers.
Muchas gracias. Adiós.
The beautiful Carolina in Navarra, Spain there. To quote Carolina, maybe these moments give you the chance to discover things about people and yourself. A lovely poignant reflection on where we find ourselves, I think. Now, one demographic certain to feel the pain of the months of uncertainty and halted activity ahead is the self-employed. With contracts being cancelled left, right and centre, invoices are being left unpaid, there's businesses under threat. You might be forgiven as a freelancer for entertaining thoughts of despair. Well, gin can help. And no, I don't mean just with tonic, although that can help too. In moderation, drink responsibly, yada yada yada. No, I mean us, the Group Isolation Network. We'll be featuring a fresh freelancer each week who will be promoting their work, explaining how ingenuity, adaptability can see us through, and generally offering pointers, tips, practical little bits of know-how to their fellow self-employed. So, without further ado, here's our first freelancer.
So I'm Faye Morrison, and in the real world, when we're not in pandemic crisis, I'm a theatre maker and a freelance event manager.
Okie dokie. So how has COVID impacted on your work?
Well, unfortunately, it has impacted entirely on my work. All of my contracts have been cancelled. So I was working on an event which was cancelled while I was on it, and then on Tuesday, between Monday and Tuesday, every single other event and theatre contract that I had in the diary all cancelled one by one. So I inevitably lost all my income stream overnight.
Explain what you are kind of offering now to the to people in this new world that we're living in.
So I'm creating some sessions for children. I've actually worked in youth theatre and taught children throughout my career for the last 12 years. So I'm creating some sessions for children of all ages, all age dependent, that are based around drama and performance and the English language and literacy curriculums, but they'll be on a donation-based model because they appreciate there's people like me out there who won't necessarily be able to afford any extra income for their children to attend these sessions, but then people who might be able to afford a little bit more, which will help those others. And it'll be about us coming together over Skype, but in group sessions to work on stories, to work together on text, on language, and kind of put a bit of structure and a bit of learning and fun back into children's lives.
Lovely stuff. Is it sort of all ages?
Yeah, so the sessions will be split into ages. So there will be the fives and unders, which will be interactive storytelling sessions. There'll probably be 6 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 13, and 14 plus.
How can people access you on that?
So at the moment, I'm just setting up my brand new company called Key Stage Theatre, and the project will be called the Stage Couch Club. So I'm just looking for expressions of interest at the moment, and I'll be contacted next week as soon as I've got all that set up over the weekend. So people can either find me on Facebook, Faye Morrison, or they can email me faye.eleanor.morrison@gmail.com.
It's Morrison with 2 R's,
yeah,
1 S.
And it's Faye, FAYE.Eleanor, ELEANOR.Morrison, MORRISON@gmail.com.
Lovely. And the sessions themselves will take place over Skype, is that right?
Correct, yeah. So we'll either use Skype or Zoom, depending on what platform's better. I'm just figuring that out at the moment. And yeah, they'll young people will be able to have a bit of space in their house. We'll do some active stuff, get people up and moving. There'll be group sessions so people will be able to see all other young people, make friends. They'll have stuff to work on in between sessions. We'll look at some performance skills, and we might even try and see if there's a way of doing a digital performance.
Lovely. That sounds like a very resourceful use of our limited circumstances. Um, just finally, do you, as a self-employed person, obviously the self-employed community is being hit particularly hard by all of this. Do you have any sort of general tips and hints for other freelancers and things they can do?
Yeah, the best bit of advice I can give you at the moment is obviously look at your existing skill set and see how that can be transferred. There's so much out there that people are not going to want to lose that you can do, but you just need to figure out how to do it digitally. And the other thing, and it seems really obvious, but it's really important to get going now, is look at the government benefit system for self-employed people. Universal credit's brilliant, and I've gone through that system myself today, and you can still work and earn money while being supported by universal credit, so you don't have to be afraid that you're not going to be able to pick up hours or do some work. It's a really, really useful system that's out there for people like us right now, and I'd just say just get online immediately and do a bit of research.
Right, Faye, Faye, the first Freelancer Focus.
Alliterative.
That is very alliterative, isn't it? A friendly first Freelancer Focus, no less.
Fabulous, I'd say.
Thank you for your time and for your for your services to teaching and with your hints and tips for the freelancers.
Thank you.
Lovely Faye Morrison there. Please do get in touch with her if you're interested in these remote teaching sessions. They sound wonderful. And feel free to use me as a conduit via any of my socials if you're so inclined. Right, we'll be ending the show on some final thoughts on our weekly theme, unexpected bonuses of COVID-19, but it's time for a bit of escapism now. We're losing more and more of our outside world pleasures, but many are finding solace in literature, music, and cinema. And it's on this front that I thought I'd bring you some recommendations for the types of things you can be watching. So I spoke to Jon Fuge, a man who considers self-isolation to be a tiny slice of heaven. This is Fuge on Film, and like everyone else this week, I asked him for his pandemic silver linings.
Well, the silver lining for me as a lazy man is that due to cinemas across the country and across the world actually closing their doors in the name of public safety, they are releasing a lot of high-profile movies to digital download, which means that you can just watch them from home. You don't have to go anywhere, which for me is perfect because I just get to sit on the sofa and watch brand new movies on my big telly.
Yeah, because we should point out that the coronavirus is actually great for you because you hate being out in public among people,
I
don't
hate
you?
it, mate.
Ironically, for a cinema critic, cinemas are your idea of hell, right?
Well, no, because everybody has to be quiet. Poorly mannered cinema patrons are my idea of hell. Yes.
So those are new releases that that are coming out digitally.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
Universal are releasing several. Some of them have been out of the cinema, but not for very long. But they are discussing releasing films that haven't come out yet, just straight to digital download, just to rent. Most of them are just to rent for 48 hours.
So where can people find these downloads?
I believe some of them are going to, like, Sky On Demand has a downloading section where the newer stuff is uploaded. A lot of it will go onto there, I imagine, in this country. But things like Disney, obviously Disney have their streaming service now, Disney Plus. So some of the Disney movies are going onto there. So they'll be in various different places, basically, depending on what studio is releasing them.
Sure. So this is the first edition of Fuge on Film. We like to go against the grain. We thought we'd do a cinema critic feature at a time when they're not releasing any films.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, but equally, people have got a lot of time at home and nothing to do. So,
and the good thing is, a lot of films have been made historically. So we've got a good database to
yes,
work with.
Yeah, a couple. There's a couple.
There's a couple out there. Yeah. There's more than 3 films I discovered last year.
Yeah, there's 4.
There's at least four. There's at least four. Yes, you are Jon Fuge, good friend of mine, and also, esteemed film critic, graduate BA Hons Film Studies, Kingston University.
That is true. That is true.
What is the sort of Corona impact? What's happening? Is all production ceased all over the world? Is anything going to be coming out in the next few months?
The impact is massive. To be honest, the impact is massive. You've got sort of your big movies like the Batman, Matrix 4. They've all stopped. I think the Batman was filming in Scotland, so that stopped about a week ago. Everything stopped basically. Most films. I think Tom Cruise is still going. Mission Impossible 7, but of course,
really,
yeah, of course he is. He'll just outrun it probably.
He'll outrun the virus.
He'll outrun the virus, mate. That's all he does. He runs. He loves to run. He'll outrun it, mate. It's Tom Cruise, man. He can. He'll do the impossible, won't he? I mean,
Well, that is his mission.
Precisely. So he will do it. He always achieves it, every single time. So, but he's still going. But everything else pretty much has stopped. With these digital downloads, there is actually a debate going on at the moment because cinemas have obviously been pushing back on releasing new films to digital download for years now, because obviously it will diminish the amount of people that go to the cinema. But the debate has now come up again because they have no choice, so they're going to release some, and if it goes well, I imagine it could very well become the norm. I think it's fair to say that this could actually change the cinema industry as we know it, really, because if you start having new releases come straight to your TV, and obviously with everybody loves streaming now, binge watching, etc., etc., this could fundamentally change the entire industry. So it's massive. It's a massive impact.
The point of this little featurette is that we talk about some of the films that people can be catching up with now that they're cooped up in the house. Have you been catching up on any films, John? What would you like to talk about? What film would you like to talk about today?
I have. Well, a film that I have caught up on is last year's comic book movie Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix. It was quite a big. I'm sure you're aware of it.
It's one of the few films I am aware of, actually. Yeah, that was one of the 4 that was released last year, right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I know it's obviously quite bad for a supposed film, whatever you describe me as, esteemed film critic or whatever, to have not seen it. But I'm a busy man, as far as you're aware. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what you know. Presumably you're aware of the Joker, the character.
Well, I've seen The Dark Knight, but I haven't seen Joker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
you know who it is. You know the.
Yeah, is it made? It's made by the same people. It's a sequel essentially of.
No.
Oh,
it's not. Okay, you're not aware at all. Okay, I should have insulted you when I was going to. No, it's not a sequel at all. It's obviously Heath Ledger played the Joker in The Dark Knight. This is Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix, however you pronounce it.
Joaquin, I believe it. I'm interviewing a Spanish person this afternoon, so I'll ask her.
Okay, I think it's Joaquin. I think that's how you say it.
Is he Spanish or is he Mexican?
I think he's just. I don't think he's either, is he?
I don't know. Oh, right. I assumed.
Well, I do know that his last name isn't Phoenix or wasn't Phoenix. His last name was actually Bottom, and they changed their name. Bottom, yeah. So his name was Joaquin Bottom. Him and his whole family were in some sort of religious cult, and then they left and changed their name. His brother was his brother's first name was River, so his name was presumably River Bottom.
Right. River Phoenix is a lot better, right?
Oh yeah, Phoenix. Well, Phoenix is a great last name. Joaquin Phoenix. Imagine if his name was Joaquin Bottom. I don't think he'd have got anywhere. Or maybe in a different sort of film industry, but
yeah, maybe. Anyway, what's Joker like? Or is it any good?
Yes.
Okay, good. Great review.
It is good. I mean, there are some. I mean, for me, it's all about Joaquin Phoenix at the center of it. His performance is astounding, quite frankly. His performances usually are, but he is absolutely fantastic in this film. It is. I mean, again, I just want to state that I did like it. I do like the film, but there are problems with it. There are definitely problems with the film. For me, the film around his performance doesn't quite measure up to how good he is, at the center of it. And it's, there's lots of sort of critics and reviewers and what have you pointed out the fact that a lot of the film sort of pays homage to Scorsese's films like The King of Comedy, Taxi Driver. There's also a bit of a Sidney Lumet's Network in there. I don't know if you know that. Do you know King of Comedy? You know Taxi Driver?
Yeah, I'm aware of it. Yeah,
the De Niro movie Taxi
yeah,
Driver. There's a lot of those
yeah.
elements in there, and for me, it wasn't so much homage as it was just taking bits of other people's movies and stitching them together with Joaquin, just the thread that holds them all together. And it's a shame that the film, thematically it's quite mixed. There's some point in the film because in this he has got like mental health problems, and it's quite a different sort of Joker to Heath Ledger's Joker. Like in this, he's got some sort of neurological disorder that means he can't help but laugh maniacally in random places, which obviously Heath Ledger's Joker was not like that. But there's a bit in the film where it's almost like a critique of sort of mental health services, but it just doesn't go anywhere. They don't do anything with it. So it kind of almost doesn't really know what it wants to say. It's a bit about sort of, the dangers of making sort of dangerous people famous, and it's a bit sort of the devolution of society, but it's all a bit mixed. But if you just focus on him, I think that's why the film's got such good reviews, because he's so good. You almost can't see the weaknesses around him, if that makes sense.
It's a bit like if you go to a festival and there's a band on, but the band aren't that great, but the frontman's so entertaining. It was worth going to see him.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Right. Shall I try and find a musical analogy for every single one of these that we do?
You can try. You're more than welcome to try.
Right, let's move on. So I think each week on this, we're going to try and do some kind of older film that people can we'll call it COVID catch up or COVID classic or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the film I've chosen is not very old, but
okay,
that's fine.
Fine.
It was under it's linked to Joker, so
okay,
that's what I've gone for. I've gone for links.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so what we telling people to go to watch? They might have missed the first time round.
Well, I've also picked this one because I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, and it's another film starring Joaquin Phoenix because I had him on the brain. Yeah, it's called You Were Never Really Here. Like I say, it's not very old. It came out in 2017, but again, it's Joaquin Phoenix at the center. But his performance in this is almost the antithesis to his performance in Joker. Whereas Joker is all quite loud and not over the top, but it's quite a big performance. This performance is much more subdued. He doesn't even really have that many lines in the movie. It's all quite internal. But again, he's one of the best actors working at the moment. So, and this demonstrates that actually, I think better than Joker does. Even though Joker, he won all the awards for that. In my opinion, he should have been winning all the awards for this. It stars Phoenix. He is a war veteran, and now he works as an enforcer. And his speciality is finding people that have been kidnapped. A politician comes to him and says, "My daughter's been kidnapped. I've been given your name, and I need you to find her," basically. And it makes it sound like a sort of taken over the top action movie type thing, but it isn't that at all. It's sort of quite artistic in places. It's just fantastic. It's a really good film. A lot of people didn't see it, and then obviously a couple of years after that, he's had all of this buzz with the Joker, and which is obviously deserved. But I think that this film is the better film for sure.
Sure. And then one thing we're going to do every week, just to sort of wrap it up, is you're gonna set me some homework. You're gonna set me a film to watch, and then we're gonna discuss it the following week. What have you set for me this week, Jon?
Right. So I'm going to give you something a bit more fun because I feel like I've been a bit of a downer in this first episode. So have you ever seen, well, I'm hoping you haven't seen it. Obviously, I don't know. You may have seen it already before, whatever I'm going to suggest to you, but I suppose that's part of the gamble.
And there's only 4 films.
There's only 4 films, yeah. So we're going to run out of material pretty soon because I'll have already talked about 3 of them. So, but also, I'd just like to point out that there is a lot of literature that says that psychologically it's actually more beneficial to watch things you have seen before because it's more comforting, apparently.
Wow. Okay.
So just bear that in mind.
I did not know this was going to turn into a psychology feature.
Well, I like to just bring in, whatever I can.
Yes. Go on. Send me my homework.
So, have you ever seen the film Demolition Man?
I have not.
Fantastic. Watch that.
Okay.
This is a big action movie. It's got Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes in it, and it has been trending lately because of coronavirus. Because basically what happens is Sylvester Stallone is cryogenically frozen, and then he wakes up in the future. And in the future, there's a real aversion to physical contact, and everything's very sterile. They don't use toilet paper anymore. They use something called the 3 seashells. So for those reasons, it's been trending a lot on Twitter and the like. So I want you to watch that because
the 3 seashells.
3 seashells. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just watch it and see.
But is that what they use instead of toilet paper?
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
They don't touch each other. It's quite appropriate for now.
Absolutely. A film of people not touching each other. That'll make a change. Right. Right. Excellent. I look forward to it. Right. Fuge on film. We'll wrap it up for the first one. You are self-isolating, are you?
I mean, pretty much, but like you say, I sort of do anyway. So not much different.
The life of a critic.
I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do. I don't know what we're allowed to do at the moment.
Yeah, well,
I feel like they've been very clear about what we can and can't do.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing we're technically allowed to do anything we want because they're not legally enforcing anything. But
no, that's where it's weird.
You just stay on the sofa, mate, and I'll get back in touch next week and see how much you've moved around the house.
Just from this room back to the other room, really. That'll be it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, mate.
All right.
Lovely to chat.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you to Jon. More from him next week. Just before we leave you, here's some final thoughts on our theme for the week, unexpected bonuses of a global pandemic, which, by the way, I am totally copywriting as an album title.
Yeah, I've spoken to neighbours right next to me that I've never spoken to before. Through the window, I hasten to add, because I'm isolated, genuinely. So it's been really interesting. Everyone's talking outside their window at each other across the cul-de-sac.
And hopefully you're getting on, right?
Yeah, no, it's taken 5 years of being here for that to happen, right?
I'm finding I'm actually spending time doing the stuff that I used to really enjoy, but haven't, life takes over. So I've been playing the piano and singing a bit more and, sort of digging out all the things that, I say life gets in the way and you don't normally get to do it. Whereas I've even been doing exercise. Because I've been self-isolating this week, I've just kind of thought, actually, if I don't start doing this now, in 3 months' time, you're not going to be able to get me through the front door. So I think from that point of view, I'm actually looking at my life a little bit, sort of like, what do I enjoy? And actually, like, what do I want to get out of this? So I'm actually eating really healthily. I'm drinking gallons of water. I'm doing exercise. So actually, I'm hoping I come out of this a fitter, healthier person, both mentally and physically.
And just one final message that came through this morning from a very special person indeed.
Hey everyone. Strange times. My silver lining comes in the form of the rumble from the distance of creative ideas and wonder of ways that people are thinking to send in a cavalry of help to keep our minds off this situation and get us through it. And some of these creative ideas are wonderful. I'd like to share one with you that you wouldn't normally have seen, and she'll probably kill me for showing you, but here you go. This is from my daughter Millie, and it says, "Look here, dear Mum and Dad. I know you might be stressed about isolation and coronavirus, but I'm always here, so you can always speak to me. I'm giving you my pocket money to keep. Use it well. It's £16. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Millie. P.S. You can rely on me to help in the tougher times." How beautiful. Stay strong and keep looking after each other.
Beautiful stuff indeed. If you don't know who that is, that's Adam Lewis, landlord of a pub called The Lamb in Surbiton, along with his wife Liz. Very saddened to read today that The Lamb is closing its doors for the foreseeable future. It appears that in the absence of governmental enforcement of measures on public safety grounds, then businesses are having to do the responsible thing and take it upon themselves to close their doors. Yet nonetheless, I know that Adam and Liz will continue to convey a wonderful spirit of positivity towards us. That message from Millie there really shows that she is her parents' child. And, you know, just looking at the message the Lamb put up today, they're using the hashtag #PartyTogetherApart. There is no sense of despair and us retreating into isolation in all forms, rather than the group isolation theory, which we are carrying out and delivering, I like to think, quite well. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I'm totally up for feedback, suggestions. Even if suggestions are "please stop doing this, it's a waste of your time," I'm totally up for taking that on board. And thank you for sharing if you contributed. I did say these will be there'll be daily ones of these. Weekends might be a push for me, so it's probably going to be Monday you hear from me again. There'll be a new theme, so I'm going to leave you by just playing out this tune actually. Just a note on music on this programme. To date, it's just been sourced from an online library of free music archive. It's appropriately named. I'm just going in there and bashing in random words like social and connection. So this one that I found today, I thought it sounded quite nice. It's by someone by the name of Albin Anderson, and it's called Connections. Thank you, God bless, stay safe, don't panic, and stay healthy. Thank you, goodbye.
Two familiar thoughts come walking through the walls, unwell but suspecting disaster. And everyone around me tells me all is fine, but they don't see my creative connections are painting a smiling face on the wall again. 'Cause what good does facts do when you stare into the blue and your mind is a mountain in motion? Slap it in the face, restrain it for some days. You might stall it but won't change the conclusion. Whatever delusion, truth or illusion, it's there. Time to be released, that breath you held for weeks, spinning the world back in motion. But down there in the deep, he's always yours to keep, the paint filled with all his devotion. He's cracking his knuckles and mistrusting the life mundane.